trussed up like a chicken. A Hemsworth chicken.
Eavesdroppin.
Good day. Michelle, how are you?
I'm great.
Are you? Great.
It's so boring to say I'm great because I always
God,
just
you're
say
boring.
great.
Ugh, so over you being great. You think you're great. You think you're so great, don't you?
You set up yourself.
She's up herself.
She's totally up herself because she thinks she's
got
great.
tickets.
Oh,
She thinks she's so great. She's got tickets on herself.
oh my God. I'm going to get cut if you keep going on.
She's got tickets. She's got rickets.
No, I'm going to get cut if you keep going on like this.
She's cut.
Bloody mole.
And that is how Michelle and I both would speak when we were aged about 12 or 13 in the toilets at high school in Australia.
Now, were you in the bad girl smoker toilets or were you in the nice, normal, fresh
Not by
toilets?
choice.
Oh.
No, there was only one set of toilets and they were the bad girl smoker toilets, unfortunately. Every bad girl was in all the toilets, smoking all the time.
Oh,
and I was a good girl,
God.
but I was still caught up amongst the smokers. Awful habit.
I mean, if you were smoking Alpines, your breath smelled like mints. The teachers couldn't tell.
I don't think that's true, Michelle.
No, of course they could tell. Everyone stunk.
Oh, that's what they thought.
Yeah, they thought the teachers couldn't
dum-dums.
tell. It's not like you just were sucking on a minty. And for people who aren't Australian, it's a chewy white candy.
Ooh, you've made it sound so tasty.
I love a minty. Did you know that fantails are no longer?
No, I didn't know that. That's
They're
another
gone.
vintage Australian sweetie.
Circling back, do you think
Already?
the modern day equivalent of a smoker toilet is a vape toilet?
Maybe, but I don't think people need to vape in toilets. They just do it under their desks surreptitiously. Or whilst working from home, chugging away.
Oh, it was more in the toilets at school. Do you think the kids are
the
vaping?
kids. Yes, they do. Yeah, they are. I know this for a fact because I went to a school fair recently, which was more like the kids from Fame at my kids' school. And there were vapes
God.
everywhere. But then, unfortunately, the drains broke and everything backed up and there was shit in the sink. Sorry, guys.
Oh, my God.
I know.
Kids, I'm telling you, if you're listening to this, A, you shouldn't because there's too much swearing. But B...
Fucking sort out the bloody toilet hygiene, ladies and gents. Honestly, it's disgusting.
No, it's more, don't flush your vape down the toilet because it's not meant to go down the toilet.
Maybe that's what they did. I didn't know that it was a vape that caused the backup, but I will say that every single fucking toilet looked appalling.
Oh, God.
Blood up the walls, tampons everywhere.
this is Carrie
they didn't know how to
vibes.
flush. It's awful.
Geordie, before we go any further,
Yes.
do we have to introduce ourselves?
Oh. I'm Geordie.
And I'm Michelle, and you are listening to Eavesdroppin. I mean, that is a classic example. You were just eavesdropping on the dunny talk.
Yeah, on the dunnies and the levies. You are an eavesdropper, and for once in your life, you're allowed it. It's okay. We're welcoming you into our conversation. God help you.
Buckle up. I was going to say buckle up, but this week,
Unbuckle.
it's light as a feather.
Unbuckle yourself. Yes, take your seatbelts off. Get into a relaxed position. Spread the knees. Whatever you need to do, I don't know. Hey, Michelle, what have you been up to?
Oh, I've just been
Cleaning toilets?
up and down with the weather here. I've been out in the sunshine and then it starts raining. It's all a bother.
I had quite a fun little image of you scurrying out into the sunshine and then it rains and you're scurrying back inside like a little drenched mouse.
with frizzy hair.
Well, luckily for me, the weather's been gorgeous in the UK, which is very un-UK. And I attended a protest yesterday to urge the government to apologise for forced adoptions, those that occurred between the 50s and the 80s, in everywhere actually. Apparently it's still going on, but I don't know much about that. And Australia has given an apology, a national apology, to the mothers and babies affected by it.
Yes.
Scotland have done it. Wales have done it. Ireland have bloody done it. What's stopping the UK from doing it, Michelle? I don't know. And you need to go back and listen to our episode, Oh Baby, for more info on that. We did a story on it.
Yes, we did. It was one of the more emotional episodes that we've done because it was very personal to you. We've done
Yes.
a few very close to the heart, raw stories, and that was one of them. So I will link to that in the Patreon. And if you're not a Patreon subscriber, why the bloody hell not? Get in there.
Why not? You get things. Come on.
But I will pop a link to that.
What do I have to do to convince you? Yes, do pop your links in, Michelle, as you like to do. We spend a lot of time working. Very, very hard for you people, I'd like you to know.
Yes, we do.
Not bigging myself up or putting tickets on myself.
Oh, she's so up herself. Check out that episode if you missed it. It's from a couple of years back, and it's a good, I mean, look, they're all goodies in their own way, but this one was particularly heartfelt. So
yes, it was good. Especially if you're affected by or interested in forced adoption or just plain old adoption.
Yes.
Because there's a lot to unpack there. Other things I have done this week, Michelle, I was interviewed.
Oh, at the protest?
Yes, we'll see if we can find that somewhere.
I've got to get ChatGPT to find that for me.
Other things I did this week was I watched Joker, Folie à Deux with Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga?
Not with her. I was actually with my husband and Tim the Magic Music Man at the time.
She wasn't on your sofa?
No. I'm glad she wasn't, because we would have been bagging it out with her right there, because she's in it.
Would you have been saying, listen, bitch, choose your roles better?
What's going on? We would have said, why is this happening? Why is it a musical? The first one was so good. Anti-rec.
You know, these anti-recs are good. I think we're protecting our community from shit, because nobody wants to waste their time on that.
Mind you, 2 episodes ago on the Vampires episode, you did kind of anti-rec Yannicka's suggestion, one of our listeners, Yannicka, of Sirens. And I started watching that, and I think it's rather good.
Oh, okay. See, horses for courses. It wasn't so much an anti-rec as more, if I'm going to watch something like this, I think I would...
You weren't in the mood.
Well, I think I would prefer to watch the new series of The Year I Turned Pretty. It's just as vapid kind of thing.
That sounds dud.
Oh! Do you know what it is? It's not meant for my age group. It's meant for tweens. Here's another anti-rec. I'm embarrassed to say I watched this and I clicked on it because I thought, well, this could just be very light. It was called Nonnas. It had Vince Vaughn in it and Susan Sarandon in it.
I like the sound of that.
And it also was about restaurants. So I thought, okay, this is one to watch with the fiancé. It was fucking terrible, really.
Oh.
It was so trashy. Bit shit. So that's an anti-rec.
Oh, well, there you go. That's all the things we've watched. We don't have any other recommendations for TV? No, doesn't look like it. Michelle's been lost for words suddenly. What's happening there? Did your batteries power down? It did, didn't it?
What? I'm powered by a different kind of battery these days, I tell you.
Speaking of powered by batteries, I also need to address something else from the Vampires episode, Michelle, when you said everybody's got ADHD.
I didn't say everyone's got ADHD.
You said, everybody's got bloody ADHD nowadays.
Oh, well, it's just one of those diagnoses that everyone is just getting, and it's like,
Well,
sorry, I'm bored by that. Oh, no.
But listen, as somebody who comes from a neurodivergent household and as an ADHD and autism-informed therapist, I feel that I just need to gently say, that it's not about it being a trend or anything. It's just because it's the rise in awareness and it's about just recognizing it now. For example, midlife women, menopause, etc., women, non-binary people, people of color, ADHD and autism was not really diagnosed in those groups before, and now they are realizing that those people are affected by it as well. I mean, we always remember the little boys in class who used to sit out the entire lesson in the quiet room because they'd missed a dose of Ritalin, right? And that's kind of what we associate ADHD with. But now we're understanding it. We realize that it's a big old spectrum, etc. But what I will agree with, Michelle, is that the overload on social media is now becoming a little bit too much. We're kind of thick in it, just like the menopause stuff. Is that just because I'm being targeted with it? Our algorithms could be that oversaturation front on social media.
Yeah, I just feel that there has been a lot of talk and a lot of labeling, and I'm quite anti that. And I had listened to a podcast, very interesting. There are other podcasts, you know. This woman called Caroline Leaf, neuroscientist Caroline Leaf. She's written #1 bestsellers, New York Times, all of that. She's been doing some really groundbreaking research, and she is very anti-labels. She thinks they actually are not beneficial to people. And her whole shtick is that we are not our brain. Our brain is different to our mind. The mind controls the brain, and you are in control of your mind. I'm not doing her theory justice, but it's very compelling.
I understand where you're coming from. However, people who are neurodivergent will often say that their diagnosis saved them because otherwise they just feel that they're broken. So it does add a layer of validation to them, and it helps because there's strategies, and if so needed, you can also be medicated. Not so much with autism, but definitely with ADHD. And understanding the effects of trauma on anxiety and also neurodivergence is a really interesting link to make as well. So again, I'm going to talk about being adopted. There is quite a high percentage of adoptees who have an ADHD diagnosis, and they believe that that could be due to the trauma that they've encountered pre-verbally, like when they've been taken away from their mother, they're in a room full of other babies, they don't have anybody paying them 100% of the attention. As a baby, you kind of feel like you are part of your mother, so that's gone. It can cause all kinds of things, crying alone in the dark. I don't want to get dramatic, but, you know, these things do impact you. And to get to a certain age, like, for example, the age that I'm at now, and to actually understand how that's affected me, my relationships, and the way that I function day to day is invaluable. But I hear you, Caroline Leaf. I get it. I understand. And for those who don't rate the labels, so to speak, labels are different to diagnoses, I would say.
Yes, I agree with that. It's interesting. Caroline Leaf has a lot of thoughts on trauma as well and how to tackle that from a neuroscientific perspective. I've not studied this stuff. I just listen to podcasts here and there.
Which is fun.
I have my own thoughts about it, but apologies if I offended anyone.
Well, I don't think it was offensive. I just wanted to include those who may have a diagnosis or haven't got a diagnosis and are thinking about getting one, just to include them in the conversation, because I'm wondering how many people are screaming at their device right now as we chat away about this stuff. I'd just be interested to know what people's opinions
Either way,
are. Yeah.
You know, I think that would be interesting.
If you're agreeing, if you're shouting, do write in.
Do write in and let us know.
Something else that popped up in that Vampires episode, Michelle. Do you remember we had a little conversation about the man, as you called him, who hosts Unsolved Mysteries? Well, he doesn't anymore. I was very confused. Who's the man? She said something about the man.
Obviously meant the host. I think I was getting my shows mixed up.
No, it was that. There is a host. There was a host, but he died in 2003, and his name was Robert Stack.
Okay, maybe I'm completely misremembering all sorts of things, but thank you for that. Maybe I remembered one thing right out of God knows how many.
You did. There was a man, and he did host it for many years, but he was also an actor from like the 1930s or something. He was in so many things, and he did all these wonderful films, but then he ended up in, you might know him from Airplane from 1980, or Caddyshack 2, or Beavis and Butthead Do America, and all those wonderful films.
Well, Jen used to always hire those from Video
Did
Easy,
she?
all of those comedies. Yeah, she loved a bit of that. Actually, speaking of Jen, I had some feedback.
Feedback from Jen, aka Michelle's mummy.
She did confirm she used to love a bit of Ricodona Spumante.
Oh.
She said she found a bottle in the shops last Christmas, bought it, shared it with the family. No one gave it glowing reviews. Turned their nose up, in her words.
Okay.
Another comment from Jen was, she said she loved the DB Cooper story. She had a theory. She thinks that when DB jumped out of the plane, he dropped the money bag. It went into
somewhere
a
else,
river or an ocean, never to be seen again, wherever it was. That's why the money's never been turned up and never been found and never been spent.
That's some good lateral thinking right there, Jen. And that's why he had to, if it was the guy we thought it was by the end, do it again.
Yes, because he was like, fuck it, I lost my money bag.
Yes.
I need to jump out another plane with even more cashola. So
Poor
thanks
bugger.
for the thoughts and theories, Jen.
Thoughts and theories. You bloody fool. Middle-aged misunderstanding alert. Please backtrack, regain composure, and start again.
I meant to say it.
So what are we talking about this week, Michelle? You said it was light as a feather, unbuckle, spread your legs, lie back, pour some Ricodona Spumante down the back of your throat, and enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride, because actually we're doing celebrity near misses. Because celebrities are not immune to a little near-death experience.
Like a little accident here and there, a little oopsie. now and then. I mean,
Oopsie.
Diddy just had an oopsie, didn't he? But he seemed to have gotten off lightly.
Well, that's another kettle of fish.
That's a different story.
But this one, I mean, it's going to go a little bit dark, sort of.
You said it was light. Don't lie to us.
Well, no, it's light. I don't mean dark as in, like, raped in a cult dark.
Oh.
I just mean, people almost died. That's dark.
Okay, but when you say dark, often there's things like vampire killers and all sorts of horror.
That was dark. That really was
Babies
dark.
and
No, we're not
bags.
going. No. Okay, on a spectrum of dark,
What grey scale are we?
this is ever so slightly grey. There you go.
Okay,
It's not dark at all.
we can manage that, can't we?
Well, I've got a near miss for you.
Okay.
This one is from April 2006 when Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones,
Love a Rolling Stone story, especially Keith.
he was 62 years old at the time.
Is this when he had a heart attack on stage?
No. My God, he's had a few. I think this guy is like a cat with 9 lives, except he's had about 27. He was on holiday in Fiji. And apparently the band was taking a break between legs of their world tour at the time. And Keith was on a little tropical getaway, hanging out on Wakaya Island with his family. And none other than Ronnie Woods, who I did
Bandmate.
meet once.
Yes.
He was lovely. Good point. If you don't know who Keith Richards is, bless you, because you're so fucking young. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but they're still
But
playing.
he is the guitarist for the Rolling Stones. I know. He has lived a life, this guy. He has survived heroin, car crashes, all of the 70s.
I just love, well, number one, I love you did a film clip of Stella Street on our Patreon where they've got Mick and Keith's Corner Shop, and I just love John Sessions as Keith Richards. But I also love looking at pictures of Keith from the 60s when they started, and his angelic face and his little bob haircut, like the big bouffant. Then there's a gap of about a year, and then suddenly the Keith we know and love now comes in. He ages like 20 years.
That's when he met Anita Pallenberg. Now, I do believe it was Safka who recommended the Anita Pallenberg documentary. And if you watched that, you will know, really, he did not have any of that cool style and suave swagger until he met Anita. She made
all right,
him.
I'll watch that. Thanks, guys.
One afternoon, Keith and his family, they're all on the beach. And there's this massive coconut tree that Keith looks at. And a bit like your husband, Geordie, he's like, I'm going to climb that. So he shimmies up this tree, no shoes on, hasn't got much on. Zip, zip, zip.
Look at me.
Yeah, he's loving climbing this coconut tree. Except halfway up, or maybe a little bit more than that, he slips and he comes crashing down.
Oh.
I know. And depending on the report you read about this, he either hit his head on the roots of the tree or a rock.
Oh.
I know. He
Head
hits the ground
injury.
hard and everyone's panicked, so panicked that they medivac him to New Zealand.
Oh.
Yeah, from Fiji. And the hospital, they're doing all these scans and they find that he's got a subdural hematoma, which basically means bleeding on the brain. And suddenly, this fall from a coconut tree turns into a potentially fatal brain injury.
Oh.
But like we said earlier, this is Keith Richards. This is the guy that once snorted his own father's ashes.
That's right.
Well, he's there with this bleed on the brain, chatting away to the doctors saying, I'm fine. They were like, don't think you are. You've got blood pooling in your skull. I know. So they made the call to perform emergency neurosurgery. It's pretty fucking serious. They're drilling into his skull. And the surgery does go well. The tour gets postponed. And of course, the rumors are flying like, oh my God, he's dying. Was he high? Is he in a coma?
Oh.
No, he wasn't in a coma. No, he wasn't dying. Was he high? Maybe. Who knows?
Probably.
But ultimately, probably, he was totally fine. And within weeks, he was walking around the hospital. This is called near misses, this whole
Yes, of
episode.
course. He's all right?
He's all right.
Wow.
But yeah,
So far.
he had such a quick recovery. He's cracking jokes, asking for his guitar. One nurse said she walked into his room. He was playing old Stones riffs like nothing was wrong with him, still wrapped in bandages. And a few months later, he's back on tour like nothing had happened.
Oh, that guy, you can't pin a good old rock star down, can you?
This is a guy who in the 70s was so fucked on drugs. He had his own drug handler. The same guy who'd smoked a cig in bed and caused a fire but got out unsinged.
I wonder if you could do a whole episode just on Keith's near misses, Michelle.
Probably, because he's also been in 2 serious car crashes and lived. But it was a bloody coconut tree that was nearly his undoing. So we're happy it worked out for you, Keith.
Good on you, Keith.
The next story I have for you, I wanted to do this one because A, I'm an Aussie and I wanted an Aussie in my roundup. And B, I love surfing, although I think I am probably shocking at it now because I have not surfed and I had to count back. I've not surfed in 8 years. I do love the feeling of being out on a board and watching the waves and then
smashed and hit on the head with your board and being put in the tumble dryer. I mean, I grew up on a surf beach.
The washing machine.
Yeah, the washing machine. Of course, I am actually from a surfing family. In the tumble dryer and the washing machine.
Yes, I've been in the washing machine. It's fucking scary.
Yes.
You don't know which way is up and you're terrified that board is going to hit you on the head. But anyway, I love it if I can ride a sweet wave. This story goes back to around 2008 or 2009. I couldn't get an exact date, but it is somewhere off the coast of Victoria in Australia. And at the heart of this story is a very young, before he was famous, Liam Hemsworth.
Which one's that?
One of those. Look, they're all pretty boys, aren't they?
One's not so pretty. Remember, we talked about this before. There's one that's sort of made out of wood, roughly chopped out like the first prototype of Pinocchio.
I think that's the older Hemsworth. I get Chris and
Liam.
Chris and
the other one.
Well, this is Liam, Chris and
Terry. Ian.
Luke and Chris.
Not Ian.
Luke and Chris Hemsworth. No, this is the one that was married to Miley Cyrus for about 5 minutes.
The one that was in Hunger Games.
Yes.
I've got it. The youngest one.
Yes.
Or he looks young.
That one.
Yes.
Yes, I think he is the youngest one. Well, at this point, he's 18, maybe 19. He's living on Phillip Island. All he wants to be is a pro surfer. He loves surfing. He lives for it. And apparently he was really good. And he did well in like surf tournaments and competitions. He'd get up and he'd go out and train, on the waves every morning. And I think it was during one of these early morning surf sessions that it was nearly game over for one of those Hemsworth brothers, i.e. Liam.
Oh, that one, yeah. You've now just thrown it back in the whole lottery ball of Hemsworths. Come on, Michelle, stick with the Hemsworth. I get confused.
I know, but they are kind of interchangeable. I just feel like 3 brothers, all actors, it's a bit much. Did you know that they were part Dutch?
No.
And when you see them, it makes sense. Actually, they've got that Dutch look about them. The mother was Dutch. I digress. This particular day, Liam goes out. He's out in the ocean. Waves are nothing special. Just, typical morning. Maybe a bit choppy, bit of swell, nothing too crazy. He's out on his board. And I read in one report, he was still sort of trying to walk out to then paddle out into the better waves.
He hadn't even gotten past his knees.
Well, no, it was waist high. So he was still what we call the green waves. It was nothing. And then in a way that surfers will tell you can happen in seconds, and you as well, you get those shore dumpers.
Oh, God, yeah.
You're quite close to the shore, but out of nowhere comes a fucking crazy wave that just nails you. And this happened. It was very unexpected, so unexpected and so violent, and grabbed him that his leg rope, which is, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's the leash that is velcroed to your ankle and it connects you to your surfboard. That leg rope gets pulled really tight. But worse than that, it wrapped itself around his body.
Oh, no.
Completely around his body.
God.
Around his torso, his arms, around his back.
Oh, my God.
Yes, Geordie, I've got the shivers just thinking about this because
this
when
is
you're
awful.
I know. When your arms and legs are bound up like that.
Underwater.
Yes, you are fucked. Because at this point, he's underwater and he's tangled up in this. He can't move. He's bound. And the board is jerking around above him on the surface of the water. He can't breathe. And worse than that, he cannot get up to the surface because he's all bound up.
No control of his limbs, yeah.
He can't get the rope off. Basically, he's drowning and there's nothing he can do about it.
Oh, man.
But somehow, I don't know if he got a little hand loose or something, but he managed to like get his face up to the surface and then get back to the shore and free himself somehow still half tangled up. So, you know, he did survive, obviously.
Because it's called Near Misses, Michelle.
It is called Near Misses. Like I said, he went on to be one of those hunky Hemsworth brothers.
Wow. And that's so crazy because I often think about those leg ropes. I hate them. I love them when you don't want to lose your board and everything, but I hate them for that very reason. It used to really freak me out. I would prefer to lose the board and not be trussed up like a chicken. A Hemsworth chicken.
A Hemsworth chicken. Oh
Thanks very much. Yeah.
Being on the ocean is scary, with a board or without, because like the mountains, like the snow, like the ocean, Mother Nature is in charge. You are not.
Nature. Can't trust it. What else you got?
Well, next on the list, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Da Vinci.
No!
I was getting all set for a Da Vinci story.
What the hell?
I don't know why.
I don't know.
I've forgotten about DiCaprio. That's just so bizarre.
Look, I'm not really a DiCaprio fan, but I just thought, why the fuck not? Because I do know it's kind of cool to hate on Leonardo. He only dates teenage models and it girls
That's
and
the
actresses.
reason. Yeah.
And I mean, he is all up in being this environmentalist while he's jetting around on his private plane and on his private yachts, which do use a fuckload of fuel and are not environmentally friendly. But I thought, give the guy a break. He nearly died.
Oh, he nearly died?
What the hell? What a surprise. But Geordie, Leonardo has not had just one brush with the Grim Reaper. He's had two.
Is someone trying to tell him something?
Maybe. So it happened in 2016 when he was flying high from his post-Revenant Oscar win, where he finally shook off that whole, you remember there were all those memes about him just being, you know, an Oscar loser, always nominated, never get the Oscar,
Okay.
But he finally won it. So I think, you know, he thought, fuck it, I'm going to treat myself to some skydiving, as you do.
As you do, exactly.
But look, I will say I've never been skydiving. I don't think you have either.
No
have you?
way.
But I have been paragliding and it's fucking scary.
Yeah, I'm not doing that either.
Well, the thing is, you've got this instructor who is strapped in behind you.
Ridiculous.
They are telling you to run off a cliff.
No.
I thought I was running off a cliff because he's like, run. Okay, the wind's right. Run. And I'm like, I am. And he's like, you're not moving. And he was pushing me because I think every instinct in your body
Is to stop
is to
that.
not run off a
Yeah,
cliff.
for sure.
I mean, he did push me off and it was absolutely fantastic.
Okay, once the vagina had unclenched.
Oh, yes. The other thing was
And bumhole.
bumhole was clenched the whole time. The embarrassing thing was, like, when you do these paragliding flights, they call them, they do like the whole selfie stick in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got the whole thing recorded and they give it to you at the end as part of the thing. I did put it in to watch it and I said to Andreas, who's that screaming? And he's like, you. I had no idea I was screaming the entire time. I just thought I was enjoying the view, but the evidence shows otherwise. The thing is, when you're doing these things, it's terrifying, but so fun. So I get why people want to do it. And we've got Leo, and he's also on a tandem skydive. So not just doing it on his own. He's got an instructor. They jump out of a plane. Running off a cliff was hard enough.
No, you see them on those I'm a Celebrity and they're basically kicking them out the door because they just won't go.
Exactly. He's on this dive, you know, they jump out the plane, except as they're free falling, the instructor pulls the parachute cord. Nothing.
Oh, that's everyone's worst nightmare. Uh-oh!
The chute does not deploy. And so Leo and this instructor, they are both plummeting towards their death. So the guy's like, okay, don't worry, I've got the second parachute. So he pulls that cord.
Yeah.
Because you have to have safety. It's also fucked.
Oh.
So it does deploy, but it's tangled up.
Oh, he's done a
right?
Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Oh.
But the cords are all tangled in each other.
No.
So it's deployed, but this parachute is not slowing them down at all. And at this point, there are interviews where Leo's talking about this and he's thinking, this is it. this is how it ends.
Yes.
I mean, he did think he was going to die.
Oh, no.
They're falling. The instructor's doing everything he can to untangle the backup chute. They're literally seconds from the ground. And I read in interviews that he said he just watched this tangled up parachute flapping above them while the Earth is just getting closer.
Oh.
The instructor is desperately trying to work the cords loose. Finally, the lines do untangle. The chute opens and they slow down just in time to not die.
Blimey.
And honestly, I don't know how you recover mentally from something like that.
Did he have a broken ankle or something as well, like when he landed?
No, I don't believe so. He didn't talk about any injuries. But Leo, if you're listening,
do
write in. Now, Geordie, I did say that Leo had 2 brushes with death. He's actually had more, but I am just going to quickly touch upon the time he went on holiday with Edward Norton. Basically, they both love diving. They went on some expedition with a marine biologist called Sylvia Earle. And I think this was maybe 2015. They went diving in the Galapagos Islands. Leo saw this group of spotted eagle rays. I don't know what they are, but I imagine they're like stingrays. And he just went off. Now, Edward Norton thought, I don't think Leo has enough oxygen. So he goes after him and finally catches up to Leo, who is basically out of oxygen. And Edward gives him this buddy oxygen, which is where he shares his oxygen with Leo and then gets him to safety. It's called the buddy breathe or something. And even though Edward did save Leonardo's life, there is another incident, which I'm just going to say it. I don't know that this is true. Now, you know how the internet, it gives you all this stuff. You read bits and pieces. I read this about Leo when he filmed The Beach. Now, it sounds like it's part of the plot to The Beach and that somehow it's all got mixed up into fiction, reality. I'm not sure, but do you know what? I'm going to tell it anyway, so fuck it. Don't come for me if it's wrong. So they're filming in Thailand.
I might watch that again, actually.
Me too. It's got to be better than Nonna's. So there's an underwater scene where his character is supposed to swim into a cave.
Yeah.
And apparently that cave was not a studio tank or green screen.
It was a real one.
Yep, actual underwater cave. And if you know anything about underwater caves, which I do not, I read that they are genuinely scary even for trained divers.
Oof, no thanks.
I don't know why he put his hand up for I'll do my own stunts. But anyway, something goes wrong. He apparently swims into the wrong section of the cave and ends up completely disoriented because it's pitch black.
Of course.
Yeah, it's the kind of don't know which way is up, pitch black. But yeah, look, eventually, somehow, one of the divers from the crew, they do manage to find him in that pitch black cave underwater, and they pull him up to the surface and out of that cave before it was too late. And apparently, a bit like Keith Richards, Leo walked away from that whole near-death thing and went straight back to set okay, I'm fine.
Great.
Let's keep going.
Such a trooper.
I know, which I don't know that I would be so chill about it.
No, you'd need a moment. Day off.
I tell you, Geordie, when things go wrong, it really stays with me a lot longer and a lot deeper than it used to when I was younger.
Okay,
so good on you, Leonardo, but I don't think I would have been able to react like that.
Probably because he was young and gung-ho.
We're gonna chat some facts and take it all back. Not facts, but crap. We take it all back. We are.
Eavesdroppin.
Thanks for that, Michelle.
No problem.
Very exciting. I'm glad to hear that they were modern people as well and not Leonardo da Vinci.
Thank God.
So now it's my turn to tell you about my celebrity near misses that I found. And I'm going to start with this guy. Long before he became a Hollywood tough guy and exemplary director of films such as The Unforgiven and $1 Million Baby, and an actor in such films as Play Misty for Me, and of course, Dirty Harry in Sudden Impact with the iconic line, "Go ahead, punk, make my day." I'm talking about Clint Eastwood, in case you hadn't guessed, Michelle. I'm waiting for you to pipe in, and you haven't done it yet. So
I was just so enthralled by your introduction to Clint Eastwood. And do you know what? He's an icon.
he's amazing, isn't he?
He is amazing. I don't know why I'm wasting my time on nonnas when I can go back and rewatch classics.
Any Clint film, yeah. And Mystic River I haven't seen yet. He's directed that. I need to see that.
Do you know what? We've had a few Clint Eastwood references. I wonder how many more episodes we can shoehorn him into.
Let's ditch Ben Mendelsohn as our patron saint and make it Clint. But I'm really worried about this episode today, Michelle.
Why?
'Cause I'm wondering if, like, there's a couple of old guys that we've mentioned, Keith, Clint. I wonder what happens if in the next couple of weeks before we release this episode, they die.
Don't. Do you think we're jinxing them?
I hope not.
Oh my God, no.
But let me tell you about the time that Clint nearly lost his life in a freak military plane accident in 1951. He was only 21 at the time, and he was a private in the US Army. So handsome. Not the walking corpse we know of today, bless him. He's 95. I still would, Clint, by the way, right in. Did I ever tell you, by the way, about Clint? You said about Hemsworth being Dutch. He was also Dutch. Okay, and he had an uncle that moved to my hometown of Bateman's Bay.
What the hell?
So I knew his nephew, Norman Van Oosterhout.
No.
And my dad built his uncle's house.
Well, how is he Eastwood? Maybe that's for screen.
Oosterhout is Eastwood in
Dutch.
in English.
Oh, well, yes.
Yeah, Oosterhout means Eastwood.
Oosterhout.
Yeah. Or something.
What
Yeah.
an Oosterhout.
Oosterhout. So Clint was in the army at the beginning of the Korean War in 1950. And he didn't see any up-close war, but he came close to being killed, as you'll find out. Fan of the ladies, he wanted to visit a girlfriend in Seattle, and his parents lived there. So he cadged a lift from his base in Sacramento on something called a Douglas AD-1Q Sky Raider, for those of you who know your planes. It's a plane. He later said in an interview, it was a naval torpedo bomber. There were no seats and I had to squeeze into the radar compartment on the plane. The plane had not been intended to ferry human beings, and suddenly, thousands of feet up in the air, the door to the plane flew open.
No.
These are Clint's words.
No.
Yes. He's the only person in the back.
Hold on, Clint.
He reaches for the radio. Hold on for dear life, Clint. He reaches for the radio to alert the pilot, but discovered to his shock and horror that it wasn't working.
No. Well, there's no human meant to be back there. So
No.
they were like, oh, fuck it. The radio's on the blink.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
So he clung on tightly to whatever he could to avoid being thrown to the floor. And he said, I nearly fell out of the plane. I was a mile up, holding on for dear life.
Oh,
And
my
somehow, our hero, Clint, managed to wedge the door shut. But then he faced another challenge. There was no oxygen due to the plane climbing so much higher.
Oh, God.
And you won't believe it, Michelle, it gets worse. Clint passed out due to a lack of oxygen and came round just in time to find that the pilot was about to crash land into the sea because he'd run out of fuel.
No.
Oh, what a day.
This is a triple whammy.
Triple whammy for Clint, but he is such the hero. He was thrown from the plane as they crashed and had to swim against a strong current to reach land. And this was somewhere off the coast of Point Reyes. Water poured into the cabin through the malfunctioning door and sank the plane. And some sources suggest there was like 4 hours of drifting about before reaching the shore. Others say it was 3 miles of open water swimming. Who knows? But eventually, Clint Eastwood stumbled ashore near a radio station. He was soaked through and numb from the freezing water, close to hypothermia. The Coast Guard was alerted, and both men, he and the pilot, were rescued with only minor injuries, which is astonishing enough in itself.
My God.
He does say in a later interview that he credits sheer luck and a bright light in the fog that guided him to safety, because he really thought his number was up.
I wonder what that bright light was.
Maybe
Guardian angel.
it could have just been a lighthouse.
Okay, yeah,
That's not-
that could also be a lighthouse.
But when you think about it, this near-death moment could have ended Eastwood's rise as an actor and director, and we would never have had all those beautiful pieces of work that he's done.
Well, I'm glad you survived.
Me
because
too.
the world's a better place with Clint in it.
It is.
I wonder if you have a near miss like that. If it just really focuses
Propels you on.
And it makes you think, what am I doing with my life? I'm not doing the things I want, and life can be taken away from you. I want to be that actor. I want to direct. I'm going to do all of it because it nearly was all taken away from me.
Well, I'm not sure if my next person I'm going to talk about had that feeling, because what happened was, well, first of all, we're going to go back to New York City in the 70s, which was an era remembered for being called the City of Fear, as it was in the grip of a violent crime wave at the time. And we've got Debbie Harry, the beautiful, cool frontwoman of Blondie. She was working as a waitress at the coolest joint in town, Max's Kansas City, which is where all the cool people hung out, like John Lennon, Andy Warhol. And this was before Blondie was signed, by the way. And she reveals in her 2019 memoir called Face It, and in interviews dating back to the 1980s, that she had a brush with death on a summer's night, walking home in towering platform shoes after a shift. Now, I can't wear those anymore, as you know. I've almost broke a knee last time I wore a platform. Birkenstocks forever. So Debbie says, for some reason, there were no cabs and I was wearing these big platform shoes. This car kept circling around and around, and this guy was calling out, "Come on, I'll give you a ride." Finally, I gave in and got in the car. I realized I'd made a big mistake. She goes on to say, it was very hot in the car and the windows rolled up nearly to the top. The guy had a white shirt and he was very good looking. Then I realized this guy had the worst BO I have ever smelt.
Oh!
Then I looked over at the door to crank down the window and saw there was no door handle, no crank. I cast my eyes around and saw that the car had been gutted. There was nothing in there. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. This put the willies right up her, as it would, right?
Yeah.
So she stuck her arm through a gap in the passenger side window and tried frantically to open the door using the handle on the outside. That's some quick instincts there, Debbie. But the man who was driving noticed this, so he tried to turn the corner really fast. Debbie said, I spun out of the car and landed in the middle of the street.
Oh my God, so she managed to open the door.
Yeah, just as he was spinning it, like really, he was desperate to keep her in the car.
Oh yeah, because he had a murderer's kit bag in the boot.
Yeah. Sometime later, Debbie saw him on the news. Ted Bundy.
No. Oh my God.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Bundy was arrested in 1978. He went on to confess to 30 murders committed in 7 states between 1974 and 1978. He was, as most of us know, executed in a Florida prison on January 24th, 1989. And Debbie was absolutely convinced that it was him after seeing descriptions that matched him and his Volkswagen Beetle, which she vividly remembers being the car that she climbed into that night.
Oh, my God.
But some skeptics aren't so convinced. For a start, they say that Bundy was not confirmed to have been in New York at that time, and the car she described didn't match known details about Bundy's car. What does Debbie say in response to that? She says, I don't give a damn what they think. I know what happened. So no.
Well, it's not the kind of thing that you want to own up to, or if it's a lie.
Yeah, why would she make it up? It happened.
I said that very badly. It's not the kind of thing you want to lie about.
No.
Because what's the point? It's fucking terrifying. Did I ever tell you the time I saw her and Patti Smith at an art opening in New York?
Oh, wow. That's exciting. No, you
They
didn't.
were old then. They must have been in their 60s, I would say. They both looked like they had lived a life.
Oh, crumbs.
Patty actually had more of an aura about her, whereas Debbie just looked fucking rough. But love her. Absolutely love her. Great story.
So now I have one about the soul legend and civil rights icon Curtis Mayfield. And this came up in a conversation at a dinner I went to recently. I didn't know this, so I looked into it. He had a terrible stage accident on August 13, 1990. Now, you might remember Curtis Mayfield from the wonderful songs Pusher Man and Move On Up. Tweet, 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 tweet.
Absolutely
It's a great song.
incredible artist.
This terrible thing, though, happened to him during an outdoor concert at Wingate Field in Brooklyn, New York, which was put on by a local senator to thank his constituents. The senator, Martin Markowitz, was introducing Curtis Mayfield as his band began playing, so Curtis is off stage. Senator Markowitz said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we've decided that we're going to bring up Curtis Mayfield, and I'm thrilled." And as he spoke, a huge gust of wind blew through the arena. But this guy carried on speaking. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Curtis Mayfield." This was just as the worried audience began to run for cover, by the way.
God.
So they were all clearing out, but he's still like, the show must go on. Curtis was about to take to the stage when a second gust of wind blew. Reports say as high as 54 miles per hour.
Okay, so this is like heading into cyclone territory.
Yes. There was a heavy metal scaffold above with all the lighting rigs on. This was shaken, right? And then the lighting rig fell to the floor and hit Curtis on the back of the neck on the way down. The wind was so strong, Michelle, it blew the speakers off stage.
Oh my God.
And Curtis survived this thanks to the drum kit somehow saving his life. But he was sadly immediately paralyzed and he was lying there in torrential rain waiting for an ambulance to come and help him. Can you imagine how utterly frightening that must be?
All of these things that we've talked about today where people have no control of their limbs, whether they've been bound or paralyzed,
actually.
You are so completely helpless. But Geordie, did the paralysis leave him at any stage, or was he paralyzed for life after that?
Well, his family were hoping that it was only temporary. He was rushed to hospital in a serious condition, but sadly it was not to be, and Curtis was actually paralyzed for the rest of his days. His son, Todd Mayfield, later said that it was gross negligence on the part of the promoters because the senator who put the show on, he didn't want to cancel despite weather warnings. There was like 10,000 people in attendance and he just didn't want to cut that short, you know. But despite his injuries ending Curtis Mayfield's live performance career, he refused to give up despite the tragedy. So he continued to write and sing by lying on his back in studio sessions so that the gravity would help him to breathe. And then he released one last album called New World Order in 1996. But sadly, due to the paralysis, and he struggled with diabetes complication and died on December 26, 1999. He was only 57.
That is fucking heartbreaking. That is really, really tragic. I feel the most moved by that story.
It's so devastating. And this guy, his song People Get Ready was adopted by Martin Luther King Jr. as an anthem. He was just an amazing guy with a gorgeous voice, and unfortunately, the accident, even though it didn't kill him, did have an impact on him and led to a premature death.
Of course it did.
But Michelle, I do have one last thing I would really love to tell you really quickly, and this just popped up.
Tell me.
And I need to tell you. In the same vein as Debbie Harry, I've got a story about the Kinks, which is another favourite band of mine. They toured the US in 1965. They had a crazy time.
Yeah.
Not in a good way. So the Kinks were getting ready to play at something called Exposition Gardens in Peoria, Illinois. And they had this local driver for the day who was absolutely wild. He terrified the band. He was some kind of redneck with a gun.
Oh my God.
But that is not their brush with horror. Bassist Pete Quaife tells how the promoter, after the show, invited the band back to his house saying there'd be a party. The band agreed, despite being freaked out by this greaseball, they say, of a guy. And in Pete's words, he says, "We get there, and the place has an awful sickly smell about it. But he's our promoter, so we stay there, drinking till about 3 a.m. When we decide to go, he gets upset. Says, can't a couple of us stay? By now, we were beginning to get a bit antsy about this guy, so we took off to the hotel, and that was the last we saw of him." Michelle, the promoter was none other than killer clown John Wayne Gacy.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God, full of serial killers. How was he a promoter, a tour promoter who brought the Kinks out?
He was a very busy guy. Quaife added, "We could have ended up as mementos bricked up in his wall." Pete Quaife died in 2010, but Ray Davies has confirmed this encounter actually happened, although Gacy's first known crime allegedly happened 2 years after the Kinks show, once he'd moved to another part of Illinois.
Okay, Geordie. I mean, if we're still on the whole topic of musicians and near misses, because I have to say, this is not serial killer-esque, but it is a near miss and it is a musician. But I have to say, with John Wayne Gacy, do you actually think that even though his first known kill wasn't until 2 years later, that was the ones that they knew about? If they walked in and there was a terrible stink, maybe there was already someone dead in the walls.
Wow.
Anyway, that's just my theory. Wow. But like I said, I will go on to just have a little story about the man with the longest tongue in the music biz.
Who the... Oh, I think I know who this is.
The one and only legend.
It's not Peter Frampton.
No, it's Gene Simmons.
I'm joking.
Now, before I go on to tell you this story, I'm just going to say it might be a fucking story, because one of the reasons why I didn't talk about this story when I was giving you all of my information at the beginning was because it's kind of unverified. And I don't know where I read it. I think it was either on Reddit or maybe it was on Quora. It was on one of those dodgy sites where it's all anecdotes. Anyway, this could be totally made up. I'm not sure. But I wanted to talk about it because it's a great story, even though it's a fucking tragic story. People died, but not our guy with the tongue. For any of our younger listeners who are like, who the fuck is Gene Simmons? He's the bassist and co-founder of glam rock band, Kiss.
I'm gonna rock and roll all night.
That's the one.
And party every day.
That was their first big hit.
Detroit Rock City.
Detroit Rock City. If you don't know which one he is, because they all had makeup on in the beginning.
The one with the long tongue.
The long tongue. He had the demon makeup that kind of looked like bat wings. And the really bad
the Krusty the Clown
palm
hair.
tree. Yeah. The palm tree. Jen would do the palm tree. I still do the palm tree. I've got a palm tree now. And I will say he was kind of the ugly one when they were unmasked. Soz.
Oh,
I know.
They were all a bit ugly, actually, Michelle.
I know. But he's also the one that in recent years, he's the one whose hair always looks kind of permanently singed.
Yes.
Right?
It does, yep.
But, and I don't mean to be mean, because this guy
Can't help it. She doesn't mean it. She just can't help it.
I know, and he has had a few scrapes with death. But when Kiss was at their peak, high glam, high platforms, high hair, you know, all the proper 80s glam rock kind of thing.
Thick into it.
Yes. For anyone who's never watched a Kiss documentary, shame on you.
I have not seen that.
What?
It's called Shame on You?
No, I'm saying shame on you.
Oh,
if you've
shame
never
on
watched
me.
it. Shame on you. I did watch it maybe last year. It wasn't the best because they didn't have the whole band in it because they don't really talk anymore.
Oh.
Gene was one of the ones who was putting the doco together.
If Ace isn't in it, I don't care.
Oh, I think he does make an appearance, but come on, Ace.
He was my favourite.
I know, but he is a space cadet. Ace is the space cadet. We do love Ace. I do love Ace. But Gene, back to Gene, he was the businessman of the group. And I do think a bit of an asshole and not nice to the ladies. You know, over the years, he's been a bit sexist, I would say. Bless him, because...
I've got a Kiss story. I've just remembered.
Oh, well, tell me.
I missed them, basically, but they were in the same hotel as me in Norway, in Oslo, when I was out there to work. And apparently I missed them by seconds at the buffet bar. Breakfast buffet.
Oh, my God.
Bummer.
Gene, pass me the eggs.
Ace.
Pass
me
Can
that
I
bacon.
have a nibble of that sausage? Oh, I would have loved you to have met them. Well, I've not met them, I don't think. I met loads of celebrities when I was at South by Southwest many years ago. And why am I thinking I did meet Gene? Back to him. This story is from November 21, 1980. Allegedly, when Gene Simmons was staying at the MGM Grand Hotel, it was a casino in Las Vegas. It's now called Bally's, and I think it also used to be called Horseshoe Las Vegas. This was around 7 o'clock in the morning. There's an electrical fault in a pastry display case.
What?
On the casino's first floor restaurant. Now, some of the wiring just started to sizzle, and it caused a fire, Geordie.
Oh.
And apparently the flames spread quickly and smoke filled this 26-story hotel casino. The smoke started to spread through every single room via the ventilation shafts. And a lot of people did get out alive, including Gene, obviously. But that said, the fire did kill 85 people.
Oh, my God. That's terrible.
It was mostly due to smoke inhalation. Some were burned. And around 600 to 700 people were injured.
Wow, that's a lot.
And this MGM Grand Fire became the worst disaster in Nevada history. And it was the incident that triggered massive changes to fire safety codes in Las Vegas, which led to installation of automatic sprinklers and fire alarm systems being installed in all hotels built before 1979.
Right.
And then proper evacuation procedures were mandated, because back then it was just a free-for-all. There was nothing. There were no fire safety codes.
Well, that's a nice little roundup of nearly lost them. Imagine if we had lost all of those wonderful, talented artists that we talked about today. Sadly, we did lose Curtis Mayfield too soon, by the sound of things. He was just ready. Gone too soon. He was ready to relaunch his career, actually. He was about to take to Glastonbury and all that kind of thing. He'd released 2 albums the year that he had the accident.
God.
So he was ready to relaunch. It's just so sad.
It is really sad. I think that's the saddest near miss out of all of the ones we've talked about today. But thanks for the near miss ride that you took me on with your stories, Geordie. I really enjoyed hearing them.
With our seatbelts off and everything. Yes.
I know. No seatbelts, no fire alarms.
Free flying. But it's like being in the 70s again.
Oh, gosh. Thanks again for those wonderful throwback in time. But I will say, Geordie, at this point, there's really only 3 things left to say.
Really? What are those things? Is it wherever you are?
Whatever you do.
Just keep eavesdropping.
Terrible segue.
Eavesdropping, eavesdropping, dropping, eavesdropping, dropping, eavesdropping, eavesdropping, dropping, dropping.